everyone, I'm going to do an overall of the book series today, and that is the Clockwork Century books by Sherry Priest. This is book 1 in the series, Bone Shaker, followed by Dreadnought, Ganymede and Fiddlehead. And apparently there is a novella as well, which fits between book 4 and 5. I haven't read that, I haven't been able to get my hands on it, so I'm not counting that in this overall review. First up, this series is very different to a lot of other series I've come across, where each book tells a part of an overall story and they don't necessarily follow the same characters. They're not even the same type of story. If you open up the 5th one, Fiddlehead, expecting a repeat of Bone Shaker, you'd be really disappointed, because Fiddlehead is more of a political story, whereas Bone Shaker is a search and rescue story. Dreadnought is an action-adventure story, and so is Ganymede. And Inexplicables is a much more quieter story. It's very personal. So each book within this series is telling a different story in a different style with different characters. And if you can't cope with that in a series, then I would say probably just read Bone Shaker, maybe Dreadnought, and then leave it at there. Certainly I think our favourites are Dreadnought and Ganymede. I really like those two. One thing this series does have is strong female characters. This is set during the American Civil War that went on and on and on and on. So we've got all those society rules and regulations that our characters have to follow, but what's nice is the women in these stories, they don't let that hold them back. They fight against it in some instances. In other instances, yeah, they're part of that society, but they force their way through to find a means of doing what they want to do. I mean, it's terrible to say, but during war, women are allowed a lot more freedom because there's a lack of people to do jobs. So obviously the women in the Civil War in these books are allowed to go into areas that they wouldn't normally be allowed in. They're allowed to go serve as nurses, even as doctors, as messengers, all in the name of the war effort. So we do see our female characters really step up and say, no, I am strong, I am a fighter, and I'm going to go and do my job. I'm going to go and fight the wrongs. I'm going to go and make the world a better place. And that's really nice. The weakest book of the series is The Inexplicables. It doesn't help that our lead character here is a young lad, which is suddenly very different to anything else we've read. He's a drug addict, and he's not really a decent guy. He's just... We found him very unrelatable, and we weren't interested in his story, to be honest. But he does fit in sort of into the grand scheme of things because of meeting Mercy, who's one of our very earliest characters that we meet, and her progression with the whole zombie problem that we have. So the Clockwork Century is set during the Civil War, American Civil War, and there is a problem. A gas has created a race of effectively zombies. The word is only occasionally used. I think there's any other name possible, a bit like The Walking Dead, that these things are called. And what the books do is kind of tell the story of where these walkers have come from, and how they are spreading across the country, and how it's affecting the war itself, and how it affects individuals in different ways, and also how this new threat is being used for nefarious purposes, which is generally normal. They follow a pretty straightforward timeline. You start at book 1, you finish at book 5. Like I say, there is a novella in between book 4 and 5 which introduces the character of Marie, who is one of the main characters in Fiddlehead. The books are all very different in style, as I have said, so if you want the action adventure-y ones, go for Dreadnought and Ganymede. If you want more personal stories, you're looking at Bone Shaker, and The Inexplicables. If you want the overall political drama, you're looking at Fiddlehead. So there is something there for everybody to enjoy. I did enjoy the Clockwork Century series, and I would certainly be very happy if there was a collection of short stories set in this universe, because I think there's a lot more that could be told, certainly from different aspects of the front, of different parts of America, because America's huge, and just seeing how the whole situation of the war and the threat of the zombies, how they affect different people in different ways. I really like the mix of characters in this books. Like we say, we have strong females, we have very stubborn-headed males, we have people of colour in this book, because obviously America's Civil War. We don't just have slaves in this book, we have free men and women, which is really nice to see, and they're really decent people as well. And because it is steampunk, we have dirigibles, which is brilliant, and sort of more the clockwork mechanisms going on that you associate with the steampunk genre. So that's really cool. So Clockwork Century, if you like steampunk, alternative history, strong characters, different perspectives and different styles of storytelling, then you'll probably enjoy this series. My husband and I, like we say, we found the first 3 books to be the strongest. Fiddlehead, we could have done with a little bit more character development. Some areas of it did drag a little bit, but it kind of loosely tied everything up for the Civil War aspect of the story. But I think there's more to be told now after the events of Fiddlehead. So there we are. So that's the Clockwork Century series. Have you read it? Please let me know what you think of it, and if not, give it a go. You might enjoy it. And the 3 blogs for this video are Sammy's Shelf, who does book reviews and has a brilliant link to their Instagram page. There's some beautiful pickies on there as well. AmyJaneAlice, that's all one person by the way, does reviews of books and book related items. Their latest post was on book scented candles, which if you're a candle person is right up your alley. And Careful of Books, which covers reviews, challenges and unboxings, which is very cool. So as always, I will leave their links to blogs down below. Please go and visit them. Please check them out, and let's build up some links in the book community. As always, my social media links are also down in the description box. I am on Goodreads, Twitter and Instagram. Please follow me there. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you would like to do that. I try and post at least once a week, not too often, unless I'm doing a major catch-up, which I did a couple of weeks ago. So I try not to bombard people too often. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and happy reading.